So you're having some troubles with your flush valve. Let's take a look at a few possible causes and the corrective actions you can take to get your flush valve back in action. Problem 1. The valve will not operate at all. Press the manual override button. If you hear the gears turn, but no water is flowing, you have a water supply issue. If you hear nothing at all, then you'll need to replace your batteries. First, let's make sure that the main water supply to the wall is turned on. Next, make sure that the control stop valve is open. Remove the stop valve cover with your Allen wrench. Using a flat blade screwdriver, open the valve by turning the screw counterclockwise. Press the manual override button to flush the unit. If the unit does not flush, replace the batteries as follows. Remove the battery tray with your Allen wrench and replace the 4 C batteries as depicted, and then reinstall the battery tray. Test flush the unit again with the manual override button. If the unit flushes, next try flushing by triggering the sensor. If it does flush, you're all set. If it doesn't flush, let's try resetting the sensor activation distance. To adjust the sensor, remove the battery tray with your Allen wrench. Remove the Easy Flush sensor cover. Reinstall the battery tray to activate the unit. Remove the sensor adjustment tool and the port cover. Stand at the desired activation distance. Using the sensor adjustment tool, turn down the sensor all the way and then slowly back up until the yellow LED begins to flash. Ensure the sensor is not detecting a stall door or a wall by stepping out of the sensor path and making sure the sensor LED is not flashing. If it is, you'll need to shorten the activation distance. Next, remove the battery tray once again. Replace the sensor adjustment tool and the port cover. Reinstall the Easy Flush sensor cover and then reinstall the battery tray to activate the unit. After the 10-minute startup sequence, the yellow LED will flash only 3 times when a user is in view after a 5-second delay. Problem 2. The flush valve shuts off too quickly. Let's begin by accessing the diaphragm. Shut off the water by turning the screw on the control stop valve clockwise until it turns no further. Press the manual override button to relieve any residual pressure inside the valve body. Using a smooth-jawed wrench, remove the valve body cover. Remove the internal diaphragm cap to access the diaphragm. Make sure that you have the correct type of trip mechanism installed in your flush valve. For urinals, the trip mechanism should be black, as seen here. And for water closets, it should be white. If it is the incorrect trip mechanism, replace it with the correct one. Next, examine the diaphragm to check for damage or punctures. If it is damaged or punctured, you'll need to install a new diaphragm replacement kit. Examine the bypass orifice. If it's damaged, enlarged, or missing, you'll need to install a new diaphragm replacement kit. Install the new diaphragm, making sure that the orifice is oriented opposite the control stop. Reinstall the diaphragm cap and the valve body cover. Tighten with a smooth-jawed wrench. Open the control stop valve to turn the water back on. Reinstall the vandal-resistant stop valve cover. Problem 3. The valve is flushing too long or won't shut off. First, take a look at the valve body cover and inspect for cracks. If it is cracked, you'll need to replace the valve body cover. Next, let's access the diaphragm assembly. Remove the stop valve cover and close the control stop valve with a flat blade screwdriver to shut off the water supply. Press the manual override button to relieve any residual pressure in the valve body. Remove the valve body cover with a smooth-jawed wrench. Remove the internal cap. Remove the diaphragm and inspect the trip mechanism and retainer disc. Clean any foreign material or debris that may be preventing the trip mechanism from seating properly within the retainer disc. Next, examine the bypass orifice and make sure that it's not plugged or partially plugged. Clean as necessary, being certain not to enlarge the orifice opening. Rinse all parts thoroughly. Reinstall the clean diaphragm, making sure that the orifice is oriented opposite the control stop. Reinstall the internal cap and the valve body cover, and tighten with a smooth-jawed wrench. Open the control stop valve and reinstall the vandal-resistant stop valve cover. An additional cause of flushing too long could be that the system pressure is not adequate or has dropped below minimum operating range. In this case, steps should be taken to increase the line pressure. Problem 4. The flush is not considered quiet. First, let's try and adjust the control stop for quiet operation. Remove the stop valve cover. Turn the water down by turning the screw clockwise with your flat blade screwdriver in small increments and testing. Keeping in mind the fixture evacuation requirements. Additional causes that should be explored by the building engineer could include the absence of air chambers and shock arrestor, loose pipes, improper sized pipes, etc. Well, that about does it. Thanks for troubleshooting with me today. If none of the above fixes solved your problem, you can always reach out to ZER's expert team for guidance. And check out our huge library of other troubleshooting and installation videos on our YouTube channel.